I got Penn State baseball representatives here, so starting with your left, Taylor Skirpon, senior infielder, center head coach Rob Cooper, and to the right, Jack Anderson, junior pitcher. So we'll start, Coach Cooper will give some opening thoughts on this year's season.
First of all, thank you for being here today. Appreciate you taking time out of your day to come. I know that I speak for our whole team and our program. We're obviously very, very excited. I'm sure that as you were walking in today and you noticed the weather outside, you knew it felt like baseball season with all the snow. But our guys are excited to get going. They're excited to get on this 2015 journey and see what this team can do. So excited to get it going.
All right, open up for questions.
Coach, this weekend in Elon, the weather's supposed to be up and down, and some drop like 19 degrees between 2 days. How much do you focus on that opening weekend with your pitchers?
I'm sure they could answer this for me, but none. When it comes to the pitchers, we're always going to be cognizant of the pitch count and how long they have in between innings and that kind of stuff. But you know what? Both teams got to play in it. Both teams have to deal with it. So, whether it was 90 degrees, we're still going to monitor. It's early in the season. We're going to monitor pitch counts regardless. So don't pay a whole lot of attention to it.
Coach, you had a really strong senior class last year from a leadership standpoint. Who are the guys this year that are kind of, I know you don't do official captains, but the leaders who are replacing the Zach Ells and the Alex Garces, those guys?
Sure. Obviously I have two of them sitting right here. Both Taylor and Jack do a great job, both from a position player and a pitching standpoint. But there's other guys. There's Christian Hessel's been a new addition that I think's done a good job just by how he goes about his business. James Coates obviously has done a good job. Nick Hedge has done a good job. But the thing that I've been happy about is the way that everybody's kind of accepted the new guys too, and you see some new guys that are kind of evolving into leadership roles from a standpoint of this is the way we do it and this is what's expected.
Where do you see Christian fitting in the mix right away?
I'd say right now, if I had to make a lineup out, he's going to be in there somewhere. Where position-wise, I'm not sure. He's been doing a lot of third, second, short. But it's a matter of what gives us the best chance defensively. I was telling these guys the other day, when I do a lineup, I don't really typically look at a lineup from a batting lineups standpoint of like your traditional, all right, fastest guy leads off and guy who can kind of bunt and handle the bat is second, and then your best hitter is third. I try to get the guys that are swinging the bat the best up as many times as possible during a game, so I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do from a batting lineup standpoint yet.
What's Christian been like to work with in the infield, Taylor?
A lot of fun. It's just another guy that likes to come in every day and kind of pour his heart out onto the field, and having a bunch of guys like that, it's definitely a lot of fun going to work every day and trying to get better every day.
Jack, with the younger rotation this year, I know you're in bullpen, but how much do you put on yourself to kind of mentor some of the younger pitchers?
It's been good. We've had a few people step up into leadership roles, and I think it's been important with younger staff, as you said. It's been exciting to see them grow and learn as we go as well, and helping them get through that process has been exciting.
I just want to. Both these guys have done a great job, but we are exceptionally young on pitching staff wise, and Jack has done a phenomenal job, educating these guys on how we do things. And again, I've mentioned this a lot to a lot of you. This year, even though these guys are upperclassmen, last year they were freshmen in the regards of they didn't know what to expect from myself and our new coaching staff, and this year they're able to explain to the new guys this is how we do things, and so it's been they've done a great job.
What do you expect out of the freshmen this year? And 5 out of the 7 are from Pennsylvania. Can you talk about the process of recruiting those guys and getting them here?
Well, when it comes to expectations, my big thing is that I want guys to come in, and my expectation for them is to put themselves in the best position possible to be successful, and to not, one of the things we talk about all the time is don't make the mistake of just trying to fit in or trying to make the team or you need to come in and have the mindset that you're going to win a job and that you can help, and so that's the biggest thing. My expectation is for them to not let age or their class determine whether or not they have a significant role on the team. It should be their efforts and their abilities. So that's number one. And the second part of that. Can you say the second part of that again?
With 5 of the 7 teams from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I've said this since the day I got the job. I really feel like there's great players in the state of Pennsylvania and in our footprint, which is the state, and then New Jersey, Maryland, up the New England seaboard and into there, and I feel like we can get great players there. And the leading producer of Major League Baseball alums by state is California, with Pennsylvania being number 2. So there's good players here. We need to keep them at home, and then because we're Penn State, we can go to an Illinois and get a guy like Jack or another player to kind of fill it in. But our main focus is always going to be to stay in our backyard and try to keep the best players here.
Coach, with being an up and down season last year and your first year, what were some of the things you were working on maybe throughout last year towards the end and in the off season, and maybe some strengths and weaknesses going into this season?
I think the biggest thing is I do believe we made progress last year to put this program at the level that we want to. I think a lot of it just has to do with accepting how to handle winning. We started off, we were kind of up and down, and then we got hot. And it's a little bit different when you're not used to winning, and that doesn't mean that these guys or that anybody on that team last year didn't want to win. But it's one thing when you win, and then it's like, okay, well, we're kind of expected to win. So and so when I was at Wright State, my first year we did the same thing. We got up and down, got really hot, and we were over 500. We were in first place in the conference, and then we lost 10 straight. And it's just a matter of learning how to deal with expectations, added pressure, things like that. So I think the biggest thing that we've been trying to talk about is just taking care of today and not worrying about. And we talked about it a lot last year, but I think it resonates more because guys have been through it and really see what it's like. And then just being more consistent from trying to cut down on the freebies, as we call them, whether it's an error or a walk or a hit by pitch, and giving the other team more outs to play with.
Taylor, this will be your second year with Jim Haley in the infield. How far has he progressed, and what do you see different from him this year than last year?
Yeah, absolutely. I really think he's completely different player. It's amazing what 1 year will do for a young guy like that. His maturity level has gone way up. His skills, working with Ross and the other guys in the infield every day, he's definitely a completely different player, and I'm really excited to see what he can do this year.
But like to interject there, this guy has a lot to do with that because it's that internal leadership and pushing each other, and what these guys have done as a team over this last year, having been in the program. You're right. He's right. Jim Haley has improved quite a bit, and I'm excited to see him go into this year. But Taylor here has had a lot to do with his development and continuing to push him and make him a better player as well. And to me, that's when you start seeing growth as a program, is when players are more worried about how to help each other out than they are about just themselves. And so he's done a good job with that too.
What are your thoughts on the addition of Rutgers and Maryland into the conference?
I love it. I mean, shoot, Maryland's they were against a team that played for the national title in the final day. You're talking about Maryland was one game away from going to Omaha. So anytime you can add a program like that to your conference, and then Rutgers, Rutgers has a solid history in college baseball. They're going to make our conference better. I saw a Big Ten preview, maybe it was last night or this morning, that had 4 teams as potential NCAA tournament teams. Well, adding teams like Maryland and Rutgers and the emergence of programs that are committing to baseball in the Big Ten, that makes your conference a lot better, and it makes us puts us in a really great spot. So I'm excited about it. We don't play Maryland this year, I don't think. So but it's good for our conference.
And Coach, Greg Gears and J.J. White both had stretches being really productive in the middle of the order last year. How important is it to be a little more consistent this year to really be the studs in the middle of the order for
Well, I think you hit it on the head with the consistency part, but I think that's for our whole team. I think we have to be more consistent as a team. But what I would say to that is it's it's not so much the consistency part as what is it that both of them need to do to be more consistent. And I think that, especially with both of them, especially Greg Gears, you're seeing what I call kind of a mentally a lighter player, meaning there's whatever they're just trying to have great quality at bats. They're not trying to be, somebody that they're not. And if they can do that and they can just have quality at bats and not put too much pressure on themselves, then I think they can be really solid guys for us. And that's just the biggest thing. When I was asked earlier about kind of the up and down and what we need to focus on, the biggest thing is focusing on, our guys especially have the right mindset from the standpoint of they want to do well, and they want to make their teammates proud and their coaches proud and their families proud and Penn State proud. But the problem is that when you let that pressure build up, even though it's for the right reasons, you're still being selfish in a way. Not on purpose, but I got to deal with that pressure. And so far, again, we haven't faced any adversity yet. But so far, I think they're lighter mentally that way, and I think they're ready to deal with it better.
Where are you going to fill the void in center field? Not having Steve, who's going to fill that role?
James Coates obviously can play out there. Ryan Richter has had an unbelievable fall for us, and we moved him from the infield to mainly an outfielder. He can still play some infield, but I think between those two guys and Aaron Novak, Greg Gears is going to be more of an outfielder this year, as well as Nick Riotto. We've got some pretty good competition out there. But, I would say between Ryan Richter and James Coates, those two guys will be getting the bulk of the play in center field.
I know you said you're not finalized the lineup yet, but is James also a candidate to fill the leadoff spot that Steve left?
Sure. I mean, again, I think he did hit some leadoff last year as well, and he's a guy that you've hit. We hit at the top of the order a lot. But I do think that the growth of some games offensively, whether it's been Skirps, and he did a great job last year, or Gears or Christian Helsel, and just some guys that have shown some maturity offensively. Again, for me, it's, okay, who do I think gives us the best opportunity to score runs? And if that means that, getting the four guys that are really, really swinging the bat well and having quality at-bats, and getting on base, then that's who I'm going to put in there more, because over the course of the game they're going to get 16 plate appearances, and that gives us a better opportunity to win.
So how much do you think the up and down that Coach is talking about and dealing with the hot stretch and the tough end of the season, how much do you think you guys learned from that and can kind of take that into this season when you do hit a tough stretch or hit a stretch where you win a couple in a row?
Yeah, I think we've definitely spent a lot of time over the past year learning from those experiences. We've learned how to effectively deal with whether you're not getting the correct outcome that you have, but maybe that outcome wasn't controllable. We really talk about controlling what we control or what we can control, and making the most out of those opportunities. So I think taking that mindset and that collective mindset as a team into each and every game will allow us to be able to handle all those ups and downs and successes.
What we're trying to do is we're trying to failure-proof our program, and what I mean by that is not the fact that we'll never fail, because we're going to fail, we're going to make mistakes, but trying to get our guys to reframe what failure is. So when you have an opportunity to achieve something, so that opportunity comes about, one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to accomplish it and you'll grow and get confidence and learn and then re-challenge yourself to something new, or you'll quote-unquote fail. And if you reframe what failure is as it's an opportunity to learn, it's an opportunity to grow, it's an opportunity to find out what you need to do better. So if you look at it that way, when is doing something like that ever a bad thing? It's not. So if we can go into it with those two things, either you're going to get it or you're going to learn from it and be able to get it, then and I think that's the biggest step to help eliminate a lot of that inconsistency from last year.
What are some ways you do that? Is it just constantly talking to the guys about it, or?
We talk about it a lot. We try to, we spend And they can tell you they've given up a lot of their Friday nights throughout the fall, and in January and February we do an hour or so or a little bit longer of a mental game workshop, and we talk about different ways, techniques, breathing exercises, different things to deal with failure, to deal with adversity. We talk a lot about the great players, the great teams. They're able to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and so it's kind of like anything else. If I want Jack to be able to execute a slider, then we have to practice it with him. If I want him to be able to execute a bunt, then we have to practice bunting with him. So if I'm going to talk about being strong mentally and having a good mental game, we have to practice that and talk about it so that it becomes part of who we are.
Anything else?
Just your thoughts on the early part of the schedule, going to Texas A&M, going to South Carolina. What do you think of your non-conference?
I'm jacked up about it. I mean, Elon is, take a look at Elon's recent history in baseball. I mean, they're a regional type team year in and year out. In fact, their head coach, Mike Kennedy, and I coached together on the USA team. I mean, he's one of the most respected guys in this game. And then you're going to turn around and you can go play in a super regional atmosphere in College Station, and then we'll go to a tournament, which I love playing in a tournament with different teams like NC State and Notre Dame, because that, again, you're playing almost in a regional type environment. And then, like you said, we'll go on the road and we'll play South Carolina. We'll play, Liberty is loaded. I think they're a top 25 program. So, but I've said this from the beginning. The only way you get better is by putting yourselves in those type of environments and playing those type of teams. Because I know for a fact I could schedule enough teams to make it so that we're going to win 30 to 40 games. But does that make you better? No, I don't think so. So we got to play these guys. We want to play them in environments that we want to be in down the road, in regional type environments, and it's going to be what challenges us.
Taylor, a couple years ago, you guys had a similar schedule, playing similar type programs, struggled and then really excelled in Big Ten play. So can you talk about what Coach is saying, how that helps you guys moving forward by playing these tough teams earlier in the season?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was my freshman year. We traveled to teams like Mississippi State, UAB, Sanford, teams like that. I think it definitely, echoes what he was just talking about, you see what you're going to be facing if you have the opportunity to play in the postseason. And I think learning from those failures and redefining it, like he was just talking, I think it definitely helps you when you go into conference. You have, even though you may not have won a lot of games to that point, you definitely have a lot of confidence, and you know how to approach each and every situation, and I definitely think it's going to help us.
But let me make really clear that is the plan behind it. But we're not going there just to be a punching bag. Like we're putting the schedule together to try to go down and win. So, but again, like I said, we're either going to win or we're going to be able to go, okay, that's where we want to be. How do we get there? So,
Everyone else?
thanks a lot. And during the year, if any of you ever need anything, get Mark. I'm happy to help any of you. Thanks a lot for coming today.
Thanks, Coach.
Good job, boys.